Thank you. Welcome everyone to the Priority Planning Advisory Committee meeting on Wednesday, February 5th, 2025. I will call the meeting to order. April, would you please conduct a roll call?
Audra Merrick.
I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you. Greg Byers.
I'm here for Greg.
Thank you. Barry Crockett.
Here.
Jason James.
Here.
Elise Maza.
I'm here.
Thank you. John Morales.
Here.
Thank you. Matthew Munden.
Here.
Thank you. John Brodsky. John Brodsky. You have a quorum. You may proceed.
All right, thank you, April. Then I'll move on to item number 3. Pursuant to Title 6 of the Civil Rights Act 1964 and the Americans with Disabilities Act, ADOT does not discriminate on the basis of race, color, national origin, age, sex, or disability. Persons who require a reasonable accommodation based on language or disability should contact ADOT's Civil Rights Office. Requests should be made as early as possible to ensure the state has an opportunity to address the accommodation. Then I'll move on to item number 4, call to audience. I request a call to the audience for any comments or issues to be addressed. Please raise your hand if you have any comments. Seeing or hearing none, I'll move on to item number 5, approval of the minutes. Can I have a motion to approve the PPAC meeting minutes from the meeting on January 8, 2025?
Move to approve Morales.
Thank you, John. Is there a second?
I second that, Bo.
Thank you, Mesa. Any questions or comment on this item? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstained? The motion carried. Then we'll move on to item number 6, program monitoring report. Are there any questions or comment on the latest program monitoring report? Seeing or hearing none, I'll move on to item number 7. Item number 7, AZ Smart Fund applications. I believe we have 2 applications today. Lisa, would you please present this to the committee?
Yes, I'm going to put my screen up. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
A quick presentation for you on the things that have changed with AZ Smart. First of all, I've highlighted a couple of relevant provisions on this slide where we used to have applicants that were limited to cities, towns, and counties. It has changed to now it's any entity that's eligible for a federal discretionary grant for surface transportation projects. That has significantly expanded the applicant pool and the types of grants that we might see. The second major change here is the yellow highlighting here for applicants that are awarded design and other engineering services, or DOES as we call it. That is our most frequently requested eligible use. They must submit a federal discretionary award application, within 2 years of the date the funds are awarded by the board. Failure to meet that deadline will result in the board is required by statute to rescind the award, and the applicant will be required by statute to repay any expenditures from that award. The eligible uses remain the same, otherwise design, match on the required match on a grant, and reimbursement up to 50% of the costs to develop and submit a federal discretionary grant. But this one is still limited to projects located in small municipalities and the small counties. We have a number of updates that we will provide for you going forward. The first one is the AZ Smart Dashboard, which I'm going to pivot over to now. It includes information that the grant statute requires we announce or reveal at certain points. One of those items is the new applications that we've received, and we are to announce, publicly announce the applications. These are listed in the order that they were received, with the most recent one on the top. So we've received an application from NACOG, Northern Arizona Council of Governments. That was the first one. Next one is from Apache County. We have also received an application from the Northern Arizona Intergovernmental Transportation Authority, or NAPTA, which is DBA as Mountain Line. This application is still in the process of review, and I anticipate you will see it in the March meeting. The AZ Smart Dashboard also includes the amount of funding. This is updated after each board meeting. You can see we have the funding categories up top. So this is for ADOT projects, projects in municipalities under 10K, in municipalities over 10K. Oh, we have dollar signs there. I'll have to get that down. Counties under 100K and counties over 100K. Now, the board has the authority and exercised it in January to repool and to pool the funds and redistribute them over each category. So you can see that in each of the 5 categories, there is the exact amount, same amount of money at $3.741 million. The funds that they redistributed is 18.7. Additional information on this dashboard will allow you to review projects that have been awarded with some detail about the location, the applicant, the amount they requested and were awarded, and the federal grant that they're pursuing. We have some statistics recapping the program here. We have done 40 active awards to date, to the tune of $48 million. Our awardees have received 16 federal grants totaling $138 million. Our leverage of federal grants at this point is 2.41. We still have 19 projects that are in design that must be submitted for federal discretionary grants, and the estimates of the amount that could be requested on those is, at this point in time, $325 million. We have also provided here information on grant submission deadlines. Because of that 2-year window that must be observed, this becomes more important. So this column here reflects those applications that are still waiting to be submitted. And we have included a deadline, the deadline date, in this column here. So applicants are aware of what their deadline is, and we're tracking this. So at this point, we're still showing it as outstanding. Additional information, summary by applicants. You can choose it either by applicant, by board district, COG or MPO, or county. Applications to date are all of the applications we have received, whether they were awarded or not. There are a number of them that the applicant pulled, or the board did award, but the application the funding is no longer valid because it had to be rescinded for any number of reasons, or the applicant received match and unfortunately was not selected for the federal grant they pursued, and that automatically has to be returned back to the AZ Smart Fund. So I covered the new applications. We will read those to you at every meeting if they exist. Talked about the funding redistribution process. I'm going to go through the new AZ Smart process at a very high level, and then we'll also look at priority criteria. So this is the new process. Essentially, the biggest changes are in phases 1 and 2. And because of that 2-year time clock on design, which is the most frequently requested eligible use in this program, we have moved all of the contractual work to the front end, including applicant approvals. So in phase 1, it's primarily about the applicant. They're pulling together everything that they need to submit, which includes them going to council or their board and getting a resolution approving them entering into the RFGAA, or the request for grant application and agreement. It indicates the amount of money in the resolution that they will be putting towards the applicant or towards the project. It designates the authorized representative that can sign the offer in the RFGAA, and the RFGAA includes all of our standard terms and conditions that are found in our IGAs. It also includes the special terms and conditions related to the AZ Smart program. All of those documents, including the signed and the executed and dated past resolution and the offer, must come in at the same time the application is submitted. All of those documents become part of the RFGAA, which constitutes the contract. In phase 2, ADOT's review begins. We are doing an administrative review. This is handled by AZ Smart staff, as is the eligibility review. We are doing a very, we're doing a what we call courtesy technical review, which is going over scope, schedule, and budget, and providing comments, observations, suggestions back to the applicant. We will not be negotiating the scope after the fact. This is all being done on the front end now. We have changed the process so that if an applicant chooses, they can hire an engineering firm to prepare their scope, schedule, and budget. And we would actually recommend that they do that. However, they must procure, in order for that to be reimbursed under a DOSE award, they must procure those services to federal standards, which means they have to include all of the federal provisions that are required in that procurement to procure those services. And as long as they do that and include the cost of that work in their DOSE request and show it as a reimbursement, if the board chooses to award their application, then they can be reimbursed for that. We also now, due to the connection with the grant statute, we have the requirement to score and rank applications. The scoring and the ranking is not done until all of the reviews are done. The applicant has had the opportunity to adjust their application. When all of that is finally taken care of, at that point, it goes to a team of at least 3 evaluators who are engineers within the agency. When the scoring and ranking is done, then the applications are referred to PPAC. There is no change in your role as a committee, nor is there really any change in the board's role. And the under AZ Smart, work can begin on the projects very quickly after board approval, because again, the applicant has already gone to council. They've already signed the RFGAA offer letter. We will countersign when the board approves, and that is the trigger for work to begin. Quick tour through priority criteria here. There are 6 of them. They are shown here in the order of importance. There is not necessarily a good score or a bad score. The board may not even use these scores. They have that discretion to choose another way to look at these. However, under the grant statute, we are required to have priority criteria and to use them, judge each application based on the criteria. The first one and the highest ranking one, as you can see here, is that the safety, there's our safety improvements included in the project. And we have various points depending on how the applicant responds to the question. If they have more than one safety improvement built into their request, into their project, then they get the full 15 points. Not every project is a safety project. Even if they can't somehow work a safety mitigation in there somehow, and they end up getting 0 points here, that does not mean that the application cannot be considered, and it does not mean that the board won't award it. Number 2 is the evidence of public support for the project. And again, you can see there are varying options here. The highest points are going to a project that are in a tribal or regional TIP or ADOT's 5-year program. And of the items you see here, including a general plan, minutes from a meeting or study session, or, it's just in a resolution that was provided by the board approving the project. The 5-year program or the TIP clearly have the highest level of public review and scrutiny, in addition to approval by the requisite federal agency responsible for that activity. Number 3, population of the locality in which the project is based. And the stakeholders requested that we break out the 2 levels for each of the 5 population, or each of the 5 funding categories, actually the 4. There's no points associated with an ADOT application. But in each case, if an applicant is in the higher band in terms of the number of population, they're going to get lower points. And this was done to offset a priority criteria that's actually required by statute in terms of how much the applicant will provide to the project of their own money. And that tends to disenfranchise the smaller entities because they have less resources. So this is our attempt to kind of level the playing field here. Number 4 is long-term impacts. We want to, the board is putting out, this is not just state highway fund money. This is taxpayer money. It's from the state general. And so we want to make sure that the applicants have considered how they're going to take care of whatever it is we're going to help them do here. And if it's an infrastructure project, we want to see that they've thought about life cycle costs. If it's a non-infrastructure project, they need to think about and tell us about the long-term impacts. And if they do either of those, they'll get 5 points. If they don't address it at all, then it's 0 points. Final slide here on the priority criteria. Here is the one that we're trying to offset with population, and it is the percent of cash monies provided by the applicant. This is statutory, we can't ignore it. So we have developed a structure of points based on the percentage that they're providing. Just an observation to the committee that many of our AZ Smart applicants in the past have not provided funding. And so I think it may change, I don't know, but more often we'll probably see 0 points here. Again, that's not necessarily a good or a bad thing. Finally, the other statutory criteria is we need to identify the extent to which the applicant will partner with other entities to deliver the project. After many conversations about how to actually do this, we settled on a count of the number of letters of support that is submitted for the project, up to 5. So if they submit a full 5 letters of support, they'll get 5 points. If they only submit 1, then they'll get 1 point. The 2 applications that we have in the door today, I'm going to present them in the order they were received. First of all is Apache County. I did see them come online. So if the committee has any applications for them, or folks from the county, if I misstate something, please do raise your hand, and so we can clear up the record here and I can get it taken care of before these go to the board. Their project is Stanford Drive, which is County Road 8235, from SR 61 to Layton Road. It is a road project, and it is to address safety and design deficiencies that were identified in a project assessment report. You can see there are numerous things there, including 90 vertical curves, some horizontal curves, steep grades, and 15 areas lacking recovery zones. They intend to do design of the highways and streets in every segment. They want to do some spot improvements that were identified in the PAR and some additional intersection safety enhancements at the Stanford and SR 61 intersection. They're going to do grading, subgrade preparation, and paving of this route from Triple L Ranch to Layton Road. And they have incorporated numerous safety measures, including improving geometry, reflective markings, and rumble strips. In the dark blue column on the left, you can see this is a county under 100,000. That's the funding category. They're going to be pursuing Safe Streets for All. They are requesting ADOT administration, and they're requesting $1.2 million for design. The total project is estimated at $14 million. At this point, ADOT would just be doing the design. They would submit the application for Safe Streets for All for the full $14 million project. They are putting in $50,000 of their own funds. One of the new questions in the application is, can this project proceed without the assistance being requested from AZ Smart? In their case, the response is no. The score for the project was 44 points, and it ranked number 2. Are there any questions for Apache County regarding this, or Apache County, do you have any clarifications?
Audra.
Yes, Iqbal. I just have one question, and it's really just a yes or no for Apache County, just a confirmation. We have 2 SMART grant applications today. One is for NACOG, which is a match, but the one for Apache County is the DOES, which is the Design of Engineering Services. And as Lisa just pointed out, Design of Engineering Services under statute, you'll need to apply for that federal grant within that 2-year time frame. In light of the new administration, I just noticed that your application is dated before that administration took office. And so I just wanted to know, do you see that being an issue for you at the moment, or do you still want to pursue it? And it's really just a yes or no question. I just wanted to bring it to your attention.
Thanks for the question, Audra, and thanks everybody for your time. I don't quite understand the question. We did apply for the grant in December. Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, so the one that's the applicant, Apache County, which is the one we're looking at right now, which is Stanford Drive. The application date is January 6th of 2025, and it was prior to our current administration taking office, and they've been looking at some of those federal grants. And so because under the design of engineering services, under our Arizona state statute, you have to repay that money if you don't apply for a federal grant within the 2 years.
Right.
You have to repay it back to the AZ Smart Fund. I just wanted to make sure, really just ask the question, or bring it to your awareness, right? That may or may not create some concern for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a very good question. And I thank you for clarifying. Yes, so the 1.2 million would go to a consultant to do the design. We did use TY Lin to help us develop this smart grant application. And they estimated the design period of being 18 months. Partially because of the PAR that was already done on the project. So it's already identified geotechnical, drainage, safety, and the geometry of the road. So there's been a lot of legwork done prior to them to a consultant doing the design. And so that was one of the things that we really emphasized was, do we think a designer can complete this design in enough time that we would have time to apply for a federal grant? And they assured me that, yes, there's ample time to do the design so that we can, and they estimated 18 months for a design, which would allow us 6 months to develop an application for a federal grant.
Lisa.
Yeah, just wanted to clarify that although they intend to pursue safe streets for all, if the administration, the federal administration were to do away with that grant, there would, there'd be the standard RAISE and mega infra. Those are long-standing grants that were not created in IIJA. So there would be other grants that they could pursue. Not sure if that was kind of where you were going, Audra.
Yes, it was. Thank you,
Okay.
Lisa. There are other opportunities, we think, in that 2-year time frame, because otherwise it's going to create some challenges with the locals and with us administering this program for the design of engineering services.
Indeed.
Okay.
But the point I guess I would make for the locals is, if think about it now, I guess have plan B now. If something were to happen with SS4A, make sure when RAISE generally occurs, because you want to be prepared for that, right? If this is not an option. So it's just something to think about as you go forward here in these tumultuous times.
Yes, thank you. And those are all very good points. And we did have those discussions about that exact same thing with our consultant. And yeah, we do need to coordinate end of design and NOFOs with the federal funding. So very good point. And we are considering that. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Do you still have question?
Well, it's just a comment following up on what Lisa said. The Rural Surface Transportation Grant Program also comes to mind as an eligible opportunity for the Stanford Road project. And again, of course, we can't see the future, but that seems like it could be more of a longstanding program in the case that SS4A goes away. So just in response to Audra Merrick's question.
Thank you. Thank you. Great discussions. Now, can I have a motion to approve the AZ Smart application from Apache County?
Pardon me, Iqbal, but I was going to do both of them, and then we can do one recommendation at the end.
I don't know how. So
Because
let's do it.
I need to walk through scoring
Okay, so
for each
let's.
of these applications.
Okay, go ahead then.
Okay, so next is NACOG. It is they're going to do a safety plan and study. It's going to basically update and build off the 2012 RSA 4191. Apparently our Northwest District gets lots of requests for improvements along this route. And they want to identify and prioritize the safety issues, deal with strategies to reduce the fatal crashes. There have been a number of people that have been killed up there, and identify funding sources. They are planning to analyze crash data collected by Navajo DPS, which is apparently not included in the crash database. And they're going to also work with the community, do some stakeholder outreach to collaborate and educate the communities up there on how ADOT's processes work. And they will also address, disadvantaged, underserved communities. As you can see in the blue bar, it's in Apache County as well. They were also planning to approve safe or go after safe streets. They intend to be a direct recipient, and they're asking for a required match, which would be $46,000. The total project's estimated the study at $230,000. The applicant is providing no funds in this case. The project will not be able to proceed without the requested assistance. It did rank 45 or score 45, and the ranking was number 1. Let me quickly show you the scoring here. So we have 2 different types of information that are included here. The first one is what the board may determine. They were given the authority to determine at their option if an applicant has the technical and financial capacity to carry out deliver a project in which they intend to be either self-administering or a direct recipient. And that is done through 2 different approaches. So in terms of technical capacity, we ask them, have you had a federal discretionary grant in the past? If so, please tell us about it. Have you been awarded one? In the case of NACOG, they have not been awarded one, but they did work closely with Yavapai County on its SS4A grant. They prepared the materials, and they are administering it basically. In Apache County's case, they did not have a federal discretionary grant. Under financial capacity, it does not really apply to Apache County. So you see the NAs over here. But for a direct recipient, this is important information, and we calculate what's called the quick ratio. And a ratio of greater than 1 generally means the applicant has ability to cover the short-term obligations, which would be them paying the contractor or the consultant and waiting for reimbursement from, first of all, the feds, and secondly, from AZ Smart. And that can take a month or 2, to process all those reimbursements. So that's why this ratio is being calculated for NACOG, but not Apache County. So those are that's information for the board. With regard to the evaluation results, here are the 6 criteria that I walked you through earlier, and the points for each applicant. Both of them got 15 points on safety because they're addressing 2 or more safety issues. Both received 15 points for public support because both of these are already in a TIP. Project location, both in Apache County, that is 5 points because they are on the larger size of population in that bracket. Life cycle costs or long-term impact, they both address those. The cash from the applicant, 0 in NACOG's case and 0.35% in Apache County's case. So they got a point there. The partnering, NACOG submitted 5 letters of support and Apache submitted 3. So 1 point difference between the 2. Apache based, I'm sorry, NACOG based just on their overall points ranked 1 and Apache number 2. Now, the requested action for the committee's consideration is recommend both applications to the State Transportation Board for further consideration. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Does anyone have any question? Now, can I have a motion to approve the AZ Smart applications for both Apache County and NACOG?
Iqbal, this is Jason James. I'd like to make the motion to approve both applications for consideration by the State Transportation Board.
Thank you so much. Is there a second?
I second Iqbal.
Thank you, Mesa. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstained? The motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you. For the stakeholders on the line, we anticipate these being on the agenda for the February board meeting. And good luck.
Thank you. With that, I'll move on to item number 8. Thank you, April. Item number 8, project modifications and new projects. So we'll start with item number 8-1. Angela.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. This request is to defer advertisement to fiscal year 26 for project F0522 San Pedro River Bridge replacement on SR 82.
Thank you, Angela. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve, Elise.
Thank you, Alice. Is there a second?
Second, it's Audra.
Thank you, Audra. Any questions or comment on this project? Hearing none, I will call for the question. All of those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstained? The motion carried. Thank you, Angela.
Thank you.
Next item is 8-2, Chinwe. Please go ahead and present when you are ready. Is Chinwe here? Let's check.
I do not find them on the line today.
Is there anyone else who is taking it for Chinwe?
I can take it, Mr. Chairman. This is Renuma.
Thank you, Rema. Go ahead.
I am requesting to approve the project F078801D. This is a new project, fence replacement project on US 87.
Thank you, Renoma. Is there a motion to approve this project? Item number 8-2.
Move to approve, Elise.
Thank you, Alice. Is there a second?
I second Iqbal.
Thank you, Mesa. Any questions or comment on item number 8-2? Hearing none, I will call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstained? The motion carried. Thank you, Rahnuma. Let's move on to item number 3. Chris, item number 8-3. Chris Moore, please go ahead and present when you are ready.
Good morning, committee chair, members of the committee. This first request is for project F059401C. requesting an increase in the budget of $150,000. This project will be installing tire anomaly sensors on I-40 at Topeka and Sanders. And this is an FY25 construction project.
Thank you, Chris. Is there a motion to approve item 8-3?
Motion to approve Morales.
Thank you,
Audra,
John.
second.
Is there a second?
Audra, second.
Thank you, Audra. Any questions or comment on this item? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstained? The motion carried. Let's move on to item number 8-4.
Yes, this request is for project F072201C, requesting an increase in the budget of $298,000. This project is replacing the truck screening sensors on I-17 at the McGuireville rest area. And this is also a construction project for FY25.
Thank you, Chris. Is there a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Mesa. Is there a second?
Second, Morales.
Thank you, John. Any questions or comment on this item? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstained? The motion carried. Thank you. Let's move on to item number 8-5. Chris Rodriguez.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. This is for project F069 to establish new construction project. This project is for road weather information systems at various locations throughout the state.
Thank you, Chris. Is there a motion to approve item 8-5?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Mesa. Is there a second?
This is
Jason.
Audra.
I'll second it.
All right, I'll take okay, so thank you, Audra. Any questions or comment on item 8-5? Jason.
Yeah, just a real quick question, Chris. I know that previously we discussed finding a funding source for these RWIS structures. Looks like you found it. Is there going to be? Do you anticipate any future, future funding needs for this, or is this going to cover the RWIS needs? For a while. I just wanted to anticipate if we're going to have to look for anything else in the future.
Yes, this should cover it. So originally it started as a procurement project, as you know. Now the selected contractor will purchase equipment and install. There's only, I believe, ADOT's only procuring the lattice structures, the sensors on the lattice structures, and they'll be installing those. And that's just for the new locations. So we should be good with the amount requested.
All right, that sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason, for the question. Thank you for responding, Chris. We have a motion from Audra. Actually, we have a motion from Mesa and second from Audra. Any other questions or comments on this item? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstained? The motion carried. Thank you. Let's move on to item number 8-6. That's Connie. Please go ahead.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. This request is for F074701C. This is an LED lighting project, and the request is to increase the budget.
Thank you, Connie. Is there a motion to approve item 8-6?
Motion to approve Morales.
Thank you, John. Is there a second?
Second, Barry.
Thank you, Barry. Any questions or comment on item 8-6? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstained? The motion carried. Thank you. Then let's move on to item number 8-7.
Yes, this request is for F074801C. This is another LED lighting project, and the request is to increase the budget and a second request to change the project limits.
Thank you, Connie. Is there a motion to approve item 8-7?
Motion to approve Morales.
Thank you, John. Is there a second?
Second, Barry.
Thank you, Barry. Any question or comments on this item? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstained? The motion carried. Thank you. Then we'll move on to item number 8-8. James.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. This project is mostly in the Southeast District, but it is plans to do ADOT forces to install upgraded signal cabinets and detection. This specific one here is for traffic signal detection using the TSMO sub-program. Request is for $186,000.
Thank you, James. Is there a motion to approve item 8-8?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Mesa. Is there a second?
Second, Morales.
Thank you, John. Any question or comments on item 8-8? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstained? The motion carried. And we'll move on to item number 8-9. James again.
Fantastic. Thank you. So this was the one I was referring to before, so I apologize for that. But yeah, the request is to establish a new project, $318,000 to replace signal cabinets, various locations throughout the southern region, bring them up to current standard. Looks like we have 14 locations. Again, we'll be using procurement contract and utilize ADOT forces for the work.
Thank you, James, for the presentation. Is there a motion to approve item 8-9?
Motion to approve Morales.
Thank you, John. Is there a second?
Second, Audra.
Thank you, Audra. Any questions or comments on item 8-9? Hearing none, I will call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstained? The motion carried. Then we'll move on to item 8-10.
Thank you.
That's Jeffrey.
Yes, that's fine. Good morning, Mr. Chairman and committee members. This project is on 264. It's called Cross Canyon to Summit. And This first motion is to establish the project for $4.2 million.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Is there a motion to approve item 8-10?
Motion to approve Morales.
Thank you, John. Is there a second?
I'll second it, Elise.
Thank you, Halise. Any question or comments on item 8-10? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstained? The motion carried. And we'll move on to item 8-11. Jeffrey again.
Okay. This project is F0729, and it's on 89 from Bitter Springs to Rossman Hill. And the request is for an increase in budget. And the total request is for $590K for a total of $5.8 million.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Is there a motion to approve item 8-11?
This is Audra, motion to approve.
Thank you, Audra. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Mesa. Any questions or comment on item 8-11? Barry?
Is this project not a pavement preservation instead of rehabilitation?
Yes, it is a preservation, but I want to say that one might have been listed as a rehabilitation.
So whether it was listed or not, I just want us to make sure that we present to the board the correct type of work. This is not a rehabilitation. We could not do 7.5 miles for $5 million of rehab. It's a preservation.
Yes.
Thank you, Barry. We'll make sure that we make this correction for the board.
Okay.
Any other questions or comment on item 8-11? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstained? The motion carried. Thank you. Then we'll move on to item number 8-12. Jeffrey.
Yes. This one is in the Northeast District. It's on US 40 westbound from Fort Rock to Markham Pass. And I'm seeking an increase in budget of $4.4 million. And the total budget is $15 million.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Is there a motion to approve item 8-12?
Motion to approve Morales.
Thank you, John. Is there a second?
Second, this Barry.
Thank you, Barry. Any question or comments on item 8-12? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstained? The motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. Then we'll move on to the next item, item 8-13. Jeffrey, go ahead.
This one is also mine. This is a lighting project on 101 from Red Mountain to US 60. And I'm requesting an increase in budget in the amount of $860K for a total of $1.5 million.
Thank you, Jeff. Is there a motion to approve item 8-13? 13.
Motion to approve Morales.
Second, at least.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Alice. Any question or comments on item 8-13? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstained? The motion carried. Then let's move on to item number 8-14. Kyle, go ahead.
Hey, good morning. This is to establish a new project number F080501X. It's to upgrade downhill grade signage on I-17 from Rocky Park to 179.
Thank you, Kyle. Is there a motion to approve item 8-14?
This is Audra, motion to approve.
Thank you, Audra. Is there a second?
I second Iqbal.
Thank you, Mesa. Any questions or comments on item 8-14? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstained? The motion carried. Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you.
Then we'll move on to item 8-15. Rashidul.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. I'm requesting for establishing utility subphase for $6 million for SR 101 and I-10 system interchange system TI improvements.
Thank you, Rashidul. Is there a motion to approve item 8-15?
I will make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Mesa. Is there a second?
Second, Morales.
Thank you, John. Any question or comments on item 8-15? Hearing none, I will call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstained? The motion carried. Thank you, Rashidul. Next item 8-16. Rashidul, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. My next request is for State Route 30 from 97th Avenue to 67th Avenue to increase budget and add scope. The original program amount was $9,548,000, and now I'm requesting to increase it to $14,048,000.
Thank you, Rashidul. Is there a motion to approve item 8-16? I'm sorry. Can I have a motion to approve item 8-16?
Motion to approve Morales.
Thank you, John. Is there a second?
Second, Jason.
Thank you, Jason. Any question or comments on item 8-16? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstained? The motion carried. Then we'll move on to item 8-17. Rashidul.
Yes, this one is also on State Route 30, but between 67th Avenue and SR 202 Loop, South Mountain. I am requesting to increase budget and add scope. The original program amount was $25,463,000, and with the increase, I'm requesting for approval of $26,463,000.
Thank you, Rashidul. Is there a motion to approve item 8-17?
Motion to approve, Audra.
Thank you, Audra. Is there a second?
I second Iqbal.
Thank you, Mesa. Any question or comments on item 8-17? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstained? The motion carried. Thank you, Rashidul.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Then we'll move on to item number 8-18. Nenuma.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and member of the committee. I'm here to request to advance the project F064701C. This is a pavement rehab project on with US 70 from Ray Lane to 8th Street.
Thank you, Renuma. Is there a motion to approve item 8-18?
Motion to approve Morales.
Thank you, John. Is there a second?
Second, Barry.
Thank you, Barry. Any questions or comments on item 8-18? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstained? The motion carried. Then we'll move on to item number 8-19. Sandy.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. This request is to establish a construction project for widening the northbound exit ramp from I-17 to Sonoran Desert Drive, which is also Loop 303, to be a dual lane exit. And this request would be contingent upon approval by MAG Regional Council in February.
Thank you, Sandy. Is there a motion to approve item 8-19?
Motion to approve, Audra.
Thank you, Audra. Is there a second?
I second Iqbal.
Thank you, Mesa. Any question or comments on item 8-19? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstained? The motion carried. Thank you, Sandy. Let's see. Then we'll move on to item number 8-20. Stephen.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. This request is to establish a project to make a fix to AZ 511 for displaying our dynamic message signs and kind of future-proof them for our future operations. The request is for $73,000.
Thank you, Stephen. Is there a motion to approve item 8-20?
I will make a motion to approve, Iqbal.
Thank you, Mesa. Is there a second?
Second, Morales.
Thank you, John. Any questions or comment on item 8-20? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstained? The motion carried. Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you.
Then we'll move on to item 8-21. Trevor.
Yeah, I'm filling in for Trevor. This is Shane Alden. Good morning.
Thank you.
Thanks. We are requesting for project F080601X, 164,000 for 6 new vehicle detection systems in the north central regions. This will be the work will be completed by ADOT forces.
Thank you, Shane. Is there a motion to approve item 8-21?
This is Audra, motion to approve.
Thank you, Audra. Is there a second?
I second Iqbal.
Thank you, Mesa. Any questions or comments on item 8-21? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstained? The motion carried. Thank you, Shane.
Thank you.
Then we'll move on to item 8-22. Tricia.
Good morning, Chairman and members of the committee. This request is to establish a new project for F0776, the O1C subphase. This is the second round of near-term improvements planned at Grand Avenue and State Route 303 and US 60 Grand Avenue at 163rd Avenue.
Thank you, Tricia. Is there a motion to approve item 8-22?
Move to approve, Elise.
Is there a second?
Second, Morales.
Thank you, John. April, you have a question?
I do apologize. I thought we were going to do 22 and 23 as one motion. I didn't get in there quick enough to ask.
We can do separately.
Okay, thank
Let's do
you.
separately. Yeah.
Thank you.
Is there any question or comments on this item? Okay, hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstained? The motion carried. Let's move on to the next item. I believe this is your skill, Tricia.
Yes, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, this request is for the same tracks number, the second round of near-term improvements. And this request is to establish the procurement project in the amount of $30,000 so that long lead items can be procured in advance of the contract award.
Thank you, Tricia. Is there a motion to approve item 8-23?
This is
Motion
Audra, motion to approve. Sorry, John.
No, that's okay.
Okay, thank you, Audra. Is there a second?
Second, Morales.
Thank you, John. Any question or comments on item 8-23? Hearing none, I will call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Sorry, Iqbal, I'm an aye. I didn't click my button fast enough. My apologies.
All right, thank you. Any opposed? Any abstained? The motion carried. Next one is yours as well, Tricia, item 8-24.
Thank you, Chairman and members of the committee. This request is for tracks number F0639, the O1C subphase, to increase the budget and also to change the project schedule to move it to fourth quarter of fiscal year 2025.
Thank you, Tricia. Is there a motion to approve item 8-24?
Motion to approve, Jason.
Thank you, Jason. Is there a second?
Second, Morales.
Thank you, John. Any question or comments on item 8-24? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstained? The motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
This was the last item on item number 8. Then I'll move on to item number 9, meeting recording and minutes. Just a reminder and for your information, the minutes and the recording of this meeting will be posted within 3 business days on the Priority Planning Advisory Committee meeting website. And the last item is item 10, the upcoming meetings. The next PPAC meeting is currently scheduled for Wednesday, March 5th, 2025 at 10 in the morning. With that, all the items are covered. Thank you everyone for your participation. The meeting is adjourned. Have a great day.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.